Hello everybody, Retrobeard here. It's issue 17 of Retro Ramblings. How are you all doing on this fine Saturday afternoon? At least it's afternoon here and GMT time. I've extensively tested my equipment and it all seems to be working well, so hopefully I won't have the same disaster I had last week, which was annoying to say the least. I have recycled some of the content that I planned on using last week. Some of it I've saved for another time. Some of the items I was going to show off, but yeah, so it's sort of a mishmash this week. I hope you're all doing well and you're all happy. I've got my trusty Xbox book once again to give me any pointers, because even though this is an unscripted show, I like to make sure I at least cover certain topics, so when I ramble on and go off my own tangents, I don't forget at least some of the stuff that I definitely wanted to share with everybody. For those of you who are new to this show, this basically is a weekly show every Saturday where I go off and discuss things and try and bring up any gaming or media news. When I say media, I mean like films, TV shows, computer games, old games, new games, and anything else around that, anime. So yeah, so it's not just gaming, but I always see that those things as in the same family of entertainment. So I often just go off and say anything and go off on random subjects, and I don't even attempt to have a script. But with that said, if you enjoy my content, please like, subscribe, share, click the notification bell, leave me a comment. I really appreciate all the support. It's been excellent. So with that said, I'll get started. Turn to my trusty book. So yeah, this news is a bit late, but I'll share it anyway. The Tales of Vesperia, or Vesperia, however it's pronounced, stream content that I did a few weeks ago, that got hit with two, not one, but two, what do you call it? Two violations, copyright violations, that's the word. So, words. So I had to extensively modify that. I lost about half of the stream I had to remove. The other half I had to change the game music with a generic tune that YouTube kindly provided. So it was annoying, but they said I could keep it as it was, YouTube said, but as long as any monetization, they would get the content creator to get the money. Well, I'm not currently monetized, I'm not big enough, but I'm not going to have someone putting adverts in my videos for them to make money, because that's wrong. I wasn't abusing or using the content, so I'd sooner have the video absolutely modified and ripped than anybody make a penny off of my hard work. So it's principle, but the video wasn't massively popular anyway, so it was no great loss. But I seem to be a bit of a magnet for these copyright violations, but I'll get there in the end. It'll all work out. It's just some people are very greedy, and they seem to think that hitting small YouTubers is the way forward to make money, when really we're the people who A, buy their games and make their money, and B, we're giving them free advertising to breathe fresh life into their games, whether it be by nostalgia or people being taught about the games for the first time. So absolutely stupid and greedy, but I will now only buy any Tales of games in a used form. So they've lost me as a customer, because they're not going to make any additional profit from a used sale, are they? They only make profit from brand new sales. So, because the Tales of Vesperia game I was playing was on my Xbox One X, and it was a digital purchase that I did. So I won't do that again. Any Tales of games I get now will be older ones that are used, so they've lost a customer. Hopefully anybody else who has this sort of thing done to them will do the same, because we can only show these greedy people that our money is in charge, not their greed. Because without us, they're nothing. Their companies don't exist without us. So that's my stance, whether it's right or wrong. It's a couple of weeks old, this is, but last week affected my delivery of news, the little bits of news being on time. I've talked about this in several of my streams, but I I got a new laptop a few weeks ago to improve my video editing and everything, because it was a very slow process, and it's been a success. And I had to port over all of my information and files, and sadly I lost, I don't know why it didn't transfer, but all of the audio to one of the videos I was working on. This video that I've discussed several times, I lost all of the audio, and essentially I'm going to have to record all of it from scratch. So a video that was already really delayed, a retrospective I was doing, is now insanely delayed. So what will be with that. It'll be done when it's done. So yeah. And my Super Console X, I've been doing a lot of streams. I think I've done 10 or 11 streams so far with that, testing it, and it's been a fantastic experience. It's a great console for the price point. You know, I only paid about £40, and I think that price point is worth it. Too much more and it's not worth it. And anybody's interested in that console, I suggest you watch my streams. Now the ones that are in video form, and also watch them each day as they're on. Because I stream Monday to Friday and then Sunday, 4 PM GMT. So feel free to check up your time zone in comparison to that time. And it's been brilliant. My only gripes, and actually it's sort of a plea for help, if anybody is knowledgeable on the form of emulation this console does, and they're good at setting up home computer controls, let me know, because I am struggling with getting control pad support for the Sinclair Spectrum games, and I'm struggling to even enter at REST games. I don't seem capable of loading them up. I don't really understand how to do that. So, but especially the Sinclair Spectrum, because a lot of those games were on keys or used a certain type of joystick like Kempston or Sinclair, and I don't know what I'm doing, so I've only had a very little go on the Spectrum side of things. So if you know how to do that, and you can clue me up and teach me or help me or give me some pointers even, that would be fantastic. Because although I've had massive success on the console side of things, the microcomputer, home computer side of things, it's been hit and miss. The most luck I've had is with the Amiga, which, okay, that's fantastic, but I want to really use all of the systems on this. So it's sort of a plea for help. If anyone can, please message me, comment me, whatever, hit me up an email, whatever you want to contact me. I'd really appreciate that, because I don't, although in some ways I'm technical on these things and on computers and things, in other ways I'm not very technical, and I'm a little bit unsure, I'm a bit stumped with it. So it's probably laughable to some people, but I appreciate the help, because I want to get that up and running, so I can get Atari ST and Sinclair Spectrum and more of the Amstrad CPC library up and running. Strange enough, Commodore 64 seems to play nicely, so but I'd appreciate that help greatly. I don't know if I have to tweak every individual game, if there's a one setting that I can apply that'll get the games playing nicely. I don't know. They load up, but I can't control them, basically. So that'd be much appreciated. Look in my book again. Yes, I am currently pursuing a PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 compatible light gun, obviously used, unless I'm very lucky. I'm on a budget, but I'm looking for one because I'd like to start playing some of the old light gun games. So if anybody has any ideas or suggestions about good models to get, let me know. I mean, I've been going on eBay and stuff, and putting a few watches on and looking for the perfect box. I'm really after one gun that'll play on both systems, on most, if not all, of the light gun library, if that's possible. So then I can start getting some games going. So that's one of my projects. When I get it, I'll show it in one of my Retro Ramblings videos. That'll be something to show off. Yes. I don't know if it's a bit early or not, but I like to have things set up and learn things. I was going to do a Patreon and start setting that up, but I looked into it and it didn't really suit me as a good fit. So I went to I think it's newish, comparable site called Buy Me a Coffee, or buymeacoffee.com. On there, my account is RetroBeard, so it's pretty easy to find me, and I've set it up where if anybody wants to donate, it's £1 a time, £1, which is probably $1 and something a time, you know, like 50 cents or some $1.50, something like that. So I've kept it small, and any contributions will be used to buy new equipment, like a new webcam, because as you can probably tell from the quality of these Retro Ramblings, I'm using my laptop's webcam and it's barely adequate. So that's gonna be what I'll do when that builds up. I'll get a perhaps when I get about £50 on there, or if I will get a laptop. I've also got a monthly service of £5 a month, which will have like exclusive content like videos, a monthly group Zoom or YouTube chat, whatever platform we end up using, and all those kind of things, and you know. But I'm just testing the water. So if this is a bit early to do it, at least it's set up for future when when the time's right. So it's up to you. I'm not begging. I'm just putting it out there, informing people so people can make their own choice if they feel my content is worth donating towards, whether it is a monthly system or just a tip, because I see it as being tipped really. You know, it's up to you. I'll keep doing my content either way. So it's buy me a coffee. It's Retro Beard, and it doesn't have to be a commitment like Patreon. It can just be you go and do it and then walk off. So it's not as much hassle, and it's a higher percentage ends up going to the YouTuber than the company. So it's a lot better than Patreon for my needs, and I believe better for anybody who wants to donate. It's better. So I'll leave that out there. What else? 1 second. What got me booked for? I'll show you my pickups of this week because it's quite a nice week. Next week I'll show you the things that I was going to show you last week, but this week I'm doing these ones, if that makes any sense. Excuse me. Got nice box for my Wii, because I've got a Wii. I lost the box several years ago, so hardly an ultimately exciting pickup, but very handy. Nice to have your consoles, the boxes for your consoles for storage and reference and piece of history and display, and if you ever choose to sell them, it increases the value by that £10, which is always handy. So nothing amazing, but pretty cool still. Next I've got a few games to show. Blue Dragon Plus on the DS. Excuse the quality. Absolutely awesome RPG, sequel to the Xbox 360 original. Very nice game. All the features you'd expect. So I was quite chuffed. I got this at a good price because it's going for quite a lot of money now, and I got it cheap. The only caveat is there's no instructions, but I'm going to probably get some reproduction instructions later or something. Another one is one I've actually been playing just recently, Virtue's Last Reward on the 3DS. Awesome game, anime style, puzzles, adventure. I think it's quite a beloved series. It's sort of like, so far, because I've not got that far in it, it reminds me of those Saw films where people are kind of waking up together and stuff, and they've got puzzles to solve, or things can go wrong, but we shall see. Very good. Next we have a classic to some people, Pokemon Sun on the 3DS. Once again, got a great price, about a third of the going rate I got it for. I'm a bit of a patient bargain hunter. Excellent game, immaculate, everything included. I'm going to have hours of fun sinking some teeth into this when the time's right. WarioWare Gold, sealed. I love my games new and sealed, except it pains me to open them, but I do in the end when I'm ready to actually play them. A very, very good value selection of mini games, over 300 I believe, multiplayer, and great for casual gaming. That's my pickup game. Pick up some. I've been really in the mood just recently for DS and 3DS stuff, because I really feel there's so many hidden gems on these consoles, and yeah, some of the appeal isn't relevant to me, but yeah, it appeals to me. Like, I love the idea of the multiplayer aspect, where you've got these cool multiplayer games that are pretty casual, and you're sitting there with your own screen in your own comfort with a little console. You're not taking up any power supplies, you're not hogging the TV, and I love the idea of it, and I feel it was really untapped, and something about that appeals to me, even if much of it I won't get to do myself. I can't help it. Something I do. I love the DS and 3DS library. Some fantastic little games. And the crowning glory is my Sony PlayStation Mini. Now, I am a huge PlayStation 1 fan. It's my favourite console. And I know this console got a lot of flack when it first came out, because it was, in some departments, underwhelming compared to Nintendo's offerings and Sega's current offering. But once you start doing a few tweaks to it, or plugging in a few bits and bobs, you suddenly get a humongous library of PlayStation games, and it's all convenient, and it's a tiny micro console. They're great if you're on, if you're on holiday or something, or you're away from home but you want some comforts. And the USB PlayStation 1 controllers alone interested me. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to putting some time into this. This is new. I've got a very good price. About quarter of the value. I mean, this is new, but about a quarter of the value I paid for. So, but I do love bargains. Yeah, so they're my pickups for this week. So that's pretty cool. Hope you've enjoyed seeing them. A media, TV series topic now is a TV show that I watched a heck of a lot when it first came out, when it was aired, and I was a young man. Babylon 5, it's a sci-fi show. It's been, against all odds and expectations, it's been remastered. For anybody who's not clued up on it, basically, this show was originally, because of the day and age it came out, it was originally a normal TV broadcast on your old CRT TVs and all that stuff, and VHS cassettes, and then eventually, when DVDs were a big thing, they sort of put it onto DVD. Problem was, due to various technical reasons, the quality on the DVD was subpar. They put the whole thing into widescreen. While saying that, the actual acting footage was originally widescreen anyway. It was filmed quite ahead of its time, but the CGI shots weren't. They were in 4:3. So when they put it back into its native widescreen on DVD, they stretched the CGI off low def masters. Well, they weren't masters. They were low def off the actual original film. And basically it made it all poor resolution and all squished and all sort of panned, pan and scan and all that stuff. So the DVD transfer was very poor and awful looking. And so we, for years, have had to make do with that, except for the clever people who had CRTs and VHS cassettes still, which wasn't me. So this remaster, they went to the 4K original film, cleaned it all up, got the colours rebalanced, and then downgraded it to 1080p. I say downgrade, that's pretty magnificent. But the only price of all this was they had to keep it in the original 4:3. So when you watch it, you've got it in 4:3 like your old fat TV screens. But to have the CGI back in its proper state, that's a fair price to pay. So I have no issues with that. It's available currently only digitally. I got my I've been buying mine, or at least using my Xbox credit on mine on Xbox itself, obviously, but it's also available on, at least in the UK, on Amazon, and I believe the Apple iOS, whatever it's called, the Apple Store. I don't know if anybody else has got it. I highly recommend it, but for God's sake, make sure you buy the HD version, not the SD version, because the difference is night and day. Widescreen is a small price to pay. Now, okay, ideal world, we want the quality and the widescreen, but I will take the 4:3 just to see it. And I watched a bit of it, and the CGI, because it's razor sharp compared to what I've been dealing with for the last 15 years or whatever it was. Those who have never seen the show, it's product of its time, but it was a pioneering show to use CGI. It had the most CGI and some of the first CGI ever in a TV show, and it's a science fiction show. It's not just another Star Trek clone. It's got an evolving story. So every week the story moves along in one huge arc. So it's very, very, very enjoyable. The first season is a bit slow, But you have to, if you invest yourself in the first season, second season onwards, it gets so good. And the good thing is, if you stick with it and remember things or rewatch it, the first season then makes a heck of a lot of sense, and you realise how much of a clever building block it was to the other stuff. So yeah, it's not as accessible as some shows, but you get the goodies at the end. The seasons 2 to 4 are the best, some of the best TV entertainment I've ever seen. Season 1 and season 5 were the weakest, with 5 being the actual weakest in my opinion, because 5 was sort of a stopgap. But 2 to 4 are magnificent, and you know, and 1 to 4 are unmissable, and 5, take it or leave it. And there was also a load of straight to video films released, movies released in the Babylon 5 universe of varying quality. Some of them are pretty good, some of them are like utter and complete rubbish. But you know, you watch them and make your own mind up, because that's just my opinion. But definitely watch the HD versions. Do not even bother watching the other versions. They're about £15 a season. I'm getting mine a season at a time, and then I'm going to have a big session. It's an amazing show, amazing. But as long as you bear in mind, it's a product of the 90s, so some of the references and societal values in it are like the show trying to act like the future, how people would be, and some of it's a bit hit and miss, if you know what I mean. But it's amazing, a lot better to Star Trek: The Next Generation, which was filmed in a similar time. I'm not saying Star Trek: The Next Generation is bad, but the early seasons, my God, are they aged? Whereas this is a lot more maturer. Later seasons of Star Trek: Next Generation, yeah, they get really good, but no, it's an amazing show, and it's not actually to be compared to Star Trek. It's a completely different thing. It's a soap opera in space. This is. It's not an exploring the galaxy show. It's a soap opera in space, and it's magnificent. So I recommend it highly. I think that's about everything I'm going to say today. That's quite a bit covered. Thank you everybody for all of the support and all of the views and likes and comments and interactions, and for all the cool people turning up and watching the streams. I really hope even more of you will decide to join the streams. It's 4 PM GMT, which is 11 AM Eastern Standard Time, so I'm sure between those two you can work out what yours is. We have a lot of fun, and I often, if nobody's around and I'm getting started, I start doing a video putting games on that I want. If other people turn up, I'm always doing requests, because I like everybody to enjoy it and be included, and nobody misses out. So it's great social environment, and the feedback so far has been people really enjoy it. So yeah, please come along. With that said, I'm going to go now. Thank you very much. Take care. This is RetroBeard signing off. Bye for now.